If you've watched any anime or played any video games, you probably recognize my guest's voice. He is the narrator of Dragon Ball Z, Ryu from Street Fighter, and been in just about every anime as a background voice, foreground voice, and everything in the middle. He has also been known to die once or twice chasing me around in the video Kylie Bear is an asshole, but he is certainly anything but. Please welcome the incredibly awesome Kylie Bear. How are you, sir?
I am awesome. Thanks so much for having me, man.
Absolutely. I, of course, have to start off with this question. Okay. What does happen next on Dragon Ball Z?
Oh, man. Well, apparently a bunch of little kids get together and they want to lynch me because they know when they hear my voice that it usually means the episode is at an end. We have to find out next time. But luckily, if they tune in at the right time, then they'll go, this time, coming up next on, it's like, oh, good, I tune in at just the right time. I come home from school, I latchkey kid, I'm in there, and then, okay, good, all right, I didn't miss anything, except the fact that we're going to loop the animation and keep it going for 3,000 episodes and power up forever.
I apologize, I didn't understand any of that because you were not doing your narrator voice.
Oh,
Could you do something similar just in the narrator?
Okay, here's what I do. I summarize the last episode of Dragon Ball Z, and then other cool stuff happens. And then what's gonna happen next? Find out now. And then it does.
That I heard. That was very nicely done.
Thank you.
You started with Radio Disney and you worked your way into voice acting. How does that transition happen? How'd you get into it at all?
Well, a lot of radio people actually transition because it's, from one padded room to the other behind a mic by yourself. But it's just a lifelong love of the thrill of the theater of the mind. Learning of Looney Tunes as a kid, hearing that, one guy voiced all those characters. My favorite characters, Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, all those guys. It's like, wow, that's a job? I want that job. So I quickly decided as a kid, probably 8 years old, that this is what I wanted to do. I was painfully shy, and so I would just take a cassette recorder and have a play radio station. I would do like parody ads and stuff, and I'd play Kiss records on my turntable back then in the 1970s. Yeah, play like, all right, KYLE-FM. And I could do all that and come out and be all crazy zany and stuff. Then I'm this quiet, reserved kid who wasn't very popular and, kind of kept to himself and everything. But I was fascinated by that idea that maybe you could entertain or reach a vast audience somehow with just your voice. That had always intrigued me. So I ended up not doing any theater, which is what any voice actor will tell you. Don't do. Please don't do as I do, kids. You do need an acting background and everything. And I ended up doing it kind of backwards. I got cast on Dragon Ball Z. And then I ended up taking classes in improv after the fact. But luckily, that did improve whatever skills I apparently had. So it did work out for the best, but that's not the path I would suggest people doing. Every path is unique. So I ended up getting a Bachelor of Arts degree in radio, TV, film from the University of North Texas. Grew up in Dallas. Got an internship with ABC Radio Networks and worked for several years on everything from classic country to top 40 to middle of the road or big band stuff to heavy metal, and then kids radio, Radio Disney. So I've introed every kind of record there is, and on Radio Disney I was doing particularly my own kind of style as a DJ, which was kind of like a blend of Jim Carrey and Robin Williams. So, and I had the creative freedom to just go crazy. I used to have a partner, Kara Edwards, who voices Goten, and Videl, my little brother and girlfriend. How's that for awkward? On Dragon Ball Z. So we did a team show together, and we acted like we were on a spaceship. So we had sound effects and music beds and everything, and we knew we weren't fooling anyone. But it was just fun to do a theater of the mind, like radio drama type thing, and I was writing, producing, doing all that. Heard about auditions for Dragon Ball Z, and I was like, oh my God, I love that show. I was already a fan of the show from previously. So for years it had been airing. It's like, oh my God, that's recorded here in Dallas? What? Mind blown. So heard about auditions from some station coworkers who were working to secure the rights to give away merchandise. Like, what's the hottest thing on TV right now? Dragon Ball Z. We should talk to those people. They're in town. Yeah. So we ended up giving away Dragon Ball Z toys and merch. And meanwhile, I kind of got in the back door and said, hey, all right, can I try out for this? I'm like, yeah, go ahead. What acting experience do you have? Like, I worked for Radio Disney. And they go, that counts, good. I'm like, get in the booth. So I open a 3-ring binder. I'm looking through characters, and it's like I recognize Gohan right away because I'm a fan of the show. And I'm looking at other things. Like, just pick like a half a dozen characters, whoever you want to read for. I'm like, okay, I'll read for these. Get in the booth. Didn't get cast as Gohan right away. They were several months away from that arc. I'm the new guy, right? So they start new guys doing bit part voices because lip sync is a very technical skill. You gotta be able to act, take direction, and match the mouth flaps. If you don't, then it's not going to work. You could have people, Shakespearean trained veterans, get in the booth and then they freak because you have the little starting gun. Beep, 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 act. And that throws some people off. Like, beep, beep, oh, do I act now? Like, no, get out. Don't bring him back. But fortunately, I guess I somehow fooled them into believing that I could do this. So I wasn't nervous or anything. It was just like, this is the opportunity of a lifetime. This is something I've literally wanted since I was a kid. And I got to do it. And I did little bit parts on the end of the Cell Saga, and the Bardock special was the first thing to come out that had my voice on it. So I turned into a little kid. It's like, oh my God, it's really happening.
I'm not gonna lie, here when you're on Radio Disney, the first thing I think of myself is the Dragon Ball Z voice doing like Mickey Mouse or something like that. Did you ever do anything where you had like a different voice for like a fluffy character or anything like that?
Well, I did get to, like I said, Jim Carrey, Robin Williams, which are spastic to begin with, right? So we're doing like infotainment features in between the songs, which weren't actually all Disney songs except for the preteen programming, which we would play, you know, the typical things you think of when you think of Disney. But it was actually more of a top 40, just, you know, very safe for family consumption at the time. Let's see, back the boy bands were starting to hit. Britney Spears, all that stuff, Spice Girls, all of this was huge at the time. Weird Al, of course, a staple, and still is. Yeah, we had these little features that would play in between the songs, and I was amongst the character voice staff as well as a DJ, and I would write these features such as "Gross Me Out," and I would, you know, or "Aptitude Dude," which was a science guy before Bill Nye, or alongside, I guess.
Ahead of your time, my friend. Ahead of your time.
That's right. Yeah. But I would do like this surfer dude guy. It's like, Johnny from Iowa wants to know, why is the sky blue? So I would just like surf it up, man. And that was a lot of fun.
So it's if Cartman was, in fact, a surfer. That's kind of what I say. Get surf it up, man.
Yeah, exactly. And then we'd do like, there were other features like, let's go back in time. And this character would go back in time and meet historical figures. And sometimes I would voice like, you know, Elvis Presley or, you know.
Or Peabody and Sherman, yeah.
Oh, yeah, so the Wayback Machine. But I never do, you know, trademarked voices like that. When we had Mickey and Minnie, we actually got Mickey and Minnie to come in and all that. So that was pretty cool. So I never got to be like, oh, boy. Never got to do that. But it was a great job. I had so much fun, you know, acting like I was on a spaceship, interviewing celebs like Will Smith and Weird Al, and just having a blast.
Did you ever, okay, so you're doing Dragon Ball Z, you're doing all sorts of various animes and voice work and stuff like that. Is there ever a line or a scene, because these performances have to have some very strange lines in them, was there ever a time where you read a line and you just burst out laughing because it was so strange?
Oh, totally. It's just, we could say bad words, right?
Yes, whatever you want.
Oh, okay, good. I was recording on Naruto, and I voiced Kiba, the kid with the dog on his head. And a scene, the dialogue literally said something along the lines of, I'm going to sneak in and take him from behind with my all-fours jutsu, right? Because all the ninja kids have these jutsus and all.
I have no idea where this is going at all.
Right. Well, I mean, the only direction I got from Mary Elizabeth McGlynn, who is an awesome director and voice actress in her own right, directed me, and her direction was simply, good luck. So after 5 minutes of trying not to laugh, we got the take done. It's like, that really says that? This got approved? Like, yeah, that is what it is. But yeah, a lot of the times the outtakes don't make it out there because the Japanese think that we're making fun of their shows, which is not necessarily the case. We don't get to study this stuff ahead of time. There's no rehearsals. You don't get the script ahead of time. The only thing I know is the time and the place and the project usually. It's like, what am I doing today? And so Mary will say, all right, in this episode, your character's doing this, and these guys are attacking the village, and da-da-da-da-da. And it's like, okay. So bullet points. You have to be able to think quick on your feet. That's why improv is so important. That's why cold reading is so important. To be able to read a script right then and there, and then perform it. And somehow make it come to life. And match the lip sync in the case of anime.
But you don't do the Brando thing where you have the lines actually on people's eyelids or foreheads or anything like that, right?
No, if I did on camera, I would totally pull that. I'd be like, can you just? I saw that picture, that infamous picture from Godfather, where Marlon Brando's sitting, and it's got Robert Duvall holding his coat jacket open, and he's wearing poster board with Brando's lines for The Godfather on there. It's like, that's how he did it. Brilliant.
You do it easier. You can have the script right in front of you and nobody watching. So it's a little cheating.
It is a little cheaty, man. I'm spoiled by it, to be quite honest. The whole idea of voice acting is just like, don't look at me. Just hear what's coming out of me. And then, hopefully it's not, which the mics pick up. You try to subtly fart, that mic will pick it up. That mic will hear you.
I farted like 5 times and nobody seems to notice. So.
No one noticed, but I mean, if this were like a,
I apologize for that, by the way, because you're probably getting a good whiff of it.
Oh, yes, I'm basking in it, actually.
Okay, that scares me, how much you're enjoying that.
Yes, I'm sorry. I don't sniff farts. But anyway. Yeah.
We'll pretend that didn't happen. Anyway,
right.
We'll edit it out in post. Yeah, never happened.
Exactly. Anyway. No, I mean, the great perk to voice acting, of course, and maybe it's because I've always just been introverted and shy, believe it or not, is that your script is in front of you. There's no rehearsal. There's no memorization involved. There's no, I'm cast because I look like this. I mean, of course it matters in the on-camera world. In voiceover, not so much, which is very freeing. You get to come out of your skin and inhabit someone else's skin for an hour, 5 minutes, 2, whatever, and you can wear whatever. I'm wearing my little Dashi station to pick up some power converters shirt. But it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter that I look like this when I could voice a teenager, or I voice an old man, or drill sergeant, or monster that dies in 2 lines or whatever. I mean, that's just like the coolest job ever to me.
We were talking beforehand about if you've ever done a on-camera where you said you've played some extras. Mm-hmm. My first thought is you would not blend into the background at all because you are just so distinct. I mean, you can just, I was speaking from the airport, it's just like, practically a mile away I can see, I can just identify you right away. And you were saying that there was always a possibility for commercial or on-screen work, but that didn't interest you as much.
Not as much. I think it's fun. I mean, I'm a huge pop culture nerd. I love movies and television. I grew up on it, as we all have, and we consume the media and everything, and I love those opportunities. But yeah, my passion first and foremost is to get behind the mic, not in front of the camera. Behind the camera is interesting too. I think it's very interesting to, post-production work, special effects, directing. That's fascinating to see. I was an extra on the 3rd Pirates of the Caribbean movie. Now, I wasn't actually in the final cut, but I was paid for 2 days' work. And I saw Gore Verbinski on set, and he looked like totally like calm and relaxed. It's like this, this $50 million budget is on this one guy's shoulders, and he's just like, yeah, all right, let's do this and do this. I mean, granted, he's a veteran director, but I can't imagine, trying to balance all of that under thing. But it's like a jigsaw puzzle coming together in the voiceover world. You sit in the booth for 8 hours a day as the actors come in one at a time, because you have to for anime and video games because of technical constraints to match the timing of the Japanese audio or the timing of the video, the mouth sync and all that. That's pretty interesting. I haven't had the opportunity to do directing, but I would probably pounce on it just to say, yeah, I did it.
You've worked with Street Fighter several years now, and a lot of people identify you with that one certain character, which of course I have to ask the question that you probably get asked the most. How do you say his name? Is it Ryu? Is it Ryu? I've heard every way growing up, and every single way I say it, somebody tells me it's wrong. So I just want to hear from the actual voice actor how you say his name.
Gertrude.
Wow, I was way off.
Way off. No, when I recorded, Capcom said it's Ryu. It's not Hadouken, it's Hadoken. And I don't bother correcting fans, if that's how they want to say it, But in my case, I'm a voice actor. I have to say it how they tell me to say it, or else I don't get paid. So if they say peanut butter jelly time, I'll say peanut butter jelly time and do it with great harumph. But yeah, God, man, landing an iconic role like that, just being in Street Fighter is pretty awesome. I lost many quarters on that, and I still suck at it. I button mash. It's like, oh, you need strategy for this. Oh, crap. I have none. 0 skills, goose egg. But the Ryu thing, yeah. They told me it's Ryu, recording for Street Fighter, and the multiple incarnations ever since then. But honestly, my favorite achievement in my career so far is 10 seconds long, and it's Ryu in Wreck-It Ralph for Disney. Because that's another personal achievement unlocked kind of thing. It's like, I want a voice for cartoons one day. And of course, who doesn't want to be in a Disney film? Who doesn't want to be in an awesome Disney film? Like Toy Story for gamers. That's what Wreck-It Ralph is to me. And I love Toy Story. And everyone says, Frozen! I'm like, no, come on, man. Wreck-It Ralph.
Wreck-It Ralph is the original Frozen.
That's right.
Ish, kind of, in a way I can't think of, but
yeah,
still.
Let it go. I'm a bad guy. Oh, well.
Lisa, my next question, what was the Disney experience like? Because, we both have something in common, that Blip was bought by Maker, Maker was bought by Disney, so we both work for the same tyrannical overlords, at least have worked for them, but at the same time, I can't help but love my tyrannical overlords. Maybe it's yes. You love your kidnappers or something like that, but even before then, I always enjoy Disney, and I always hear, both incredibly good and not usually, I just hear incredibly good stuff about them. Like the stuff that people say is bad, I hear it a lot of times is played up. So what was your experience with them?
Well, it felt like a circle of life sort of thing. See what I did there?
Nicely done.
Yeah, right. Oh, but working for Disney on the radio side of it first, and I told the producers of Wreck-It Ralph when I was, recording with them, that's like, wow, really? You used to be for Radio Disney? Like, yeah, this is like full circle. This is wild to me. Then working for Marvel, which is now owned by Disney, for Avengers a few years ago, Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
Disney will just own every person on this planet. They got us. They got Marvel. It's only a matter of time.
And Lucas.
Yeah, Lucas.
They got Tashi Station, so.
Yeah, so it's... I just have a Mickey Mouse shirt under this I'm going to whip out at the very end.
All right. That'd be swell.
Never do that again.
I will never do that again. That's highly disturbing.
But continue with your story.
I had a story? Oh, yeah. What's working for the Disney overlords? No, it was surreal because I live in Burbank, in Disney Studios in Burbank. So not even 5 minutes from where I live. I go to the studio. I didn't think that I would be seeing John C. Reilly or Sarah Silverman or all that because they recorded separately as well. But like anime and video games, I was brought in by myself. The director, Rich Moore, was the only one there in the booth with me, and I was looking at a music stand with a single piece of paper that had my little cameo in it. And I recorded just by myself, and he explained what the scene was without showing it to me because I guess it wasn't animated yet. It was like, this was July of 2012. The movie came out in November. And we recorded, and then I said, did you want me to do any, like, Hadouken? It's like, sure, why not? Because it wasn't written into the cameo. And I go, okay, well, I did like 2 or 3. He's like, thank you so much. This is so cool. Ryu came in. It's like, you're freaking out over there. It's my job to freak out. I'm the one who's here, and you're like, wah! So, like, yay, job security. But 2 weeks pass, and they call my agent. My agent calls me, and it's like, yeah, Disney wants you back. It's like, really? For what? It's like, well, you're still going to do the same thing, but they rewrote it. I'm like, oh, okay. Go in. The joke's funnier. It's like, I say, and then the director goes, yeah, so remember how you did the Hadouken? The animators actually did a Shoryuken. So can you give me that instead? I'm like, oh, absolutely. So we did that. Then a third time, a couple weeks passed by. And then a fourth time. And that's the one that ends up in the final cut. And then the no, sorry. I go on the Disney lot, and now this time the movie is pretty much done, and they show it to me on the screen. And this is like 3 months before final theatrical release. I'm like, this is so cool. And I'm on the place where they recorded Sound of Music and they mixed Mary Poppins and all this rich film history on the soundstage. And they said, yeah, Sarah Silverman's coming in later today to record some last minute, stuff. And it's like, oh, I wish you were coming in. That would have been cool. So I didn't get to meet any of the cast. Just work with the director, which was awesome. And I thought, okay, well, this is a cameo. They're going to cut it. It's not, it's not going to end up in the final film. It has nothing to do with the story. And then they release a press release saying, we got the original voice actors for Sonic and Ryu. And they had bios and everything. It's like, oh, I guess I did make the final cut. Okay, this is pretty awesome. So, once that came out, then of course I blabbed on social media. And it's like, oh, finally I could talk about it. This is awesome. Because it was like, outside of my parents.
I think my
friends.
Facebook post had all I'm Rio and Wreck-It Ralph, like 5 postings for like 12 straight days. It was impressive. It was very impressive.
I mean, I pride myself on being humble, but man, I didn't want to seem like I was bragging, but I was proud of it because it just felt like when you have a dream, I have a dream as a kid, and then it comes to life when you're an adult. That doesn't happen all the time. And when it happened to me, it was just amazing. And, I got to see it in the theater with Steve Bloom, one of my voice actor mentors and idols and champions who's helped me get established in Los Angeles ever since I moved there in late 2005. We were at a con together in Nebraska, Anime Nebrascon, and we took that Friday in November to go to the theater and watch Wreck-It Ralph. And he and some staffers and me were all watching it, and they hear the cameo, and it's like, yay! And they're like clapping, and we stay after the credits, and there's my name, and it's like, Kyle Hebert, Ryu. I'm like, oh.
When you applauded, were any of the audience members behind you like drunks?
Yeah, it's like, who the hell's that? Come on, shut up, you. And then all my friends were like posting on Facebook saying, hey, we cheered for you. We know we're in another state altogether, but we didn't care. So we were like, oh, that's good. Way to go, Kyle. And it meant so much to me, even though it's just a short little, 2 lines. But yeah, that's my proudest achievement.
I had a PBS commercial that showed in theaters briefly, and my wife got so excited that she accidentally spilled the drink all over me. And as I was getting up to go to the concession stand to clean myself off, she pointed and said, "That's my husband who was up there. That's my husband." I'm like, "Don't do that, honey. I got drink all over me." So I understand the excitement, definitely.
Yeah, and it still happens. People's like, and they're shoving a Blu-ray or a DVD of Wreck-It Ralph, and it's like, I'm signing something Disney. This is weird. Awesomely weird, but weird. It's like, oh man, I hope that they call again sometimes. That would be great.
Was there ever disagreement over doing that voice? Because on the one hand, yeah, it's a director and it's a film, but on the other hand, it's kind of your character that you've done for years. So when you say, can you do Hadouken? No, it's Hadouken. Did you ever get in those did you ever come to blows?
No, actually no, because the director, he called me Ryu, and he said Hadouken, and it's like, all right, I don't have to correct him. And I wouldn't correct him. And I said, yeah, I can get the other cast members. If there's any more Street Fighter people, I'll, it's like, no, we're good. And then turns out that Zangief was voiced by himself. The director took the role from the actor, which I feel sorry for him. But
you have to love him. He's Disney, and he's your director.
That's right, and he's my director. And Rich, please call me. I don't know what he's working on, but I would love to come back for you, dude. How about Wreck-It Ralph 2? Let's make a sequel. Let's just do this.
I think everybody in the world is waiting for that movie right now.
Yes.
Like next to Avengers 2, that's the sequel like everybody is waiting for.
And Incredibles 2.
Yes, yeah. Well, that one is happening. So yeah, there's some good superhero stuff coming out that hopefully you'll be a part of.
And I could go on and on about that. I'm a big nerd. I eat, drink, and sleep and breathe all this stuff. I love it.
A lot of beginning voice talents, they think the majority of work is like, sort of the leading roles and the supporting roles or even kind of side characters. And a lot of times it's just people in the background, or you'll see a lot of really big voice actors and they'll have these big roles, but they'll also have voice or additional voice or background voice or so on and
Yeah.
so forth. How much of that is starring roles? How much of it is background stuff?
I'd say a majority are either episodic or bit parts, and this is true for almost any actor. Any lead role guy on a show, whether it's anime or cartoon or games, are probably going to also be doing Soldier A and Monster B and whatnot. And if you have a discerning enough ear, you could probably, hear things like, even in the cartoon world, I'll hear like Kevin Conroy, who's Batman, but I'll also hear him be like a cop in a scene or like someone else in the background. But it's like, they got Kevin Conroy to just be someone else. That's kind of funny.
What is, in your opinion, someone that's done a lot of voiceover work, what is the secret to getting called back?
Man, boy, I wish it were that simple. There's so many factors that are out of your control. That's why we emphasize to everyone who's up and coming and curious about the career and all that, it's like, get that foundation, hone those skills, because you never know when that door of opportunity is going to open up. And if you go in and have a great audition and they cast you, then the pressure's kind of on. Like, what if you can't replicate what you gave them? And can you capture that lightning in a bottle again? Hope so. Jeez. That's why we tell people it's so important that you're trained, that you take direction well, you improvise, you're a good cold reader, you think on the feet, that you're moldable and flexible and directable, and you're humble and nice. That's kind of pretty important, being nice and remembering your roots and all that, and don't let any success get to your head. Stay grounded, and love what you do. And that's kind of the be-all, end-all, the kind of mantra that I tell people when I go to conventions and everything. It's like, find your passion and do it. If you can make a living doing something you love, life doesn't get any better than that. Don't go into this going, I want to be a voice actor because I want to be rich and famous. It's like, no, that's the wrong motivation.
Speaking of conventions, you are practically doing that almost as like your second living because you do so many.
I do.
I mean, what was it, like 30 this year or something like that?
Something ridiculous. Yeah, there's a few weekends where I'm actually home, and it feels weird when I'm looking. It's like, it's Saturday afternoon. Do I have a panel? No, wait, I'm home. I can actually just go out with my friends, or I can just sit at home and Netflix it or hang out. Whatever. I do a lot of traveling, and I love it. It's exhausting, and I'm jet lagged, don't get me wrong. But getting to meet the fans, this is like icing on the cake. Getting to see new places that I've never been to before because, I'm so fortunate to get to do something that I love, and also fortunate that people like what I do as well. And so they say, hey, we want to bring you out. Like, all right, excellent. Let's do this. So yeah, I've been in Australia, Ireland, England, Australia, and all points in between here in the States and Canada, and it's truly amazing. And hearing people's stories, they come up, shake your hand, or give you a hug, and they tell you, it's like, hey, you were great in that role. Or something maybe more intimate and personal, just like, you helped me get over depression, or I lost a family member or a pet and I was grieving, and your character in such and such game or show really helped me get through the dark times. Or soldiers, or incarcerated people, prisoners who it's like, man, I got 6 more months left to go on my sentence, and really?
I've yet to have that one.
Well, just you wait. It'll happen. But I mean, everything. People telling their touching stories, and terminal kids, terminal patients. I mean, I've heard and seen just about everything there is, and it's like, wow. You don't think about it at the time when you're in a booth recording. You're in a little vacuum. It's just you and the engineer and the director and maybe someone from the client side, and that's it. In this quiet little booth in a microphone, you're doing it, and they do the take, maybe 2 or 3 takes later, and they go, great, okay, move on. And then after that, okay, great session, great to see you, hugs, and then you go on to your life, right? And then 6 months, a year later, in the case of some games, Street Fighter was out for, took a year to bring the dub version out. You have no idea what sort of impact it's going to have. And then now there's so much going on. First world problem. I'm in so many games and shows that, I was either I go on GameStop.com or I'll hear from fans on Twitter. It's like, great job on so and so, and I go, oh, that's out. Check Google. I'm like, oh, it's out. Why? Thank you. Yes, I voiced so and so in this game. I've been sitting on it for years. I'll pull out the smartphone and open the note-taking app, and I'll say the day that I'm recording, I'll write the name of the character, the name of the project, and I'll save it, and then I'll wait till it's out, and then put it out there. But yeah, cool stuff.
You were talking about before, you hear this from a lot of voice actors, people who they go to a recording studio and sometimes it's just them, sometimes they work with a giant cast. Is it just give and take on different productions, or is there kind of a norm?
With games and anime, they do pretty much require you to be solo. Again, because the technical constraints of matching the animation, or perhaps if it's a Japanese game, then you got to match the timing of the audio, because the audio in Japanese is what's being used to time with the animation. But the animation's not done yet for the game. You only have the audio. With cartoons, though, the animation's not done yet, so you get to play off each other's performance. Every actor gets their own mic and stand, and you get to perform together. Maybe not the whole cast, because not everyone is always available at the same time. But it's fascinating, and it's entertaining as hell to watch people, screw up their lines just like you do, and you get to watch their process, and it's fascinating. It's really cool, and everyone's having a good time. They're professional. They bring their A game, and then it's like a little miniature party. And then you go back to your life and oh man, I want to do that again. It's like crack, bring me in. But it does depend on the project. I mean, I never heard of a whole cast recording an anime, not on the dub side of it anyway.
That'd just be a lot of your turn, your turn, your turn.
You'd end up wasting money that the budgets are so low anyway as it is that why pay a bunch of actors to stand around waiting for one guy to finish the lip sync. That's why you bring in everyone separately, so you could record maybe a DVD's worth of episodes over the course of a couple weeks maybe, and you have to schedule all those actors and juggle times back and forth and be flexible, make sure that you have the time to go from point A to point B, and then meanwhile you're juggling auditions that come in daily and record from home. And that's what my typical day is. I do a lot of auditions from home and wait for that call or that email going, hey, your cast is so-and-so, we need you Tuesday 9 to 11. Like, oh, awesome, sweet. And then put that in the calendar in the phone, and then boom, lather, rinse, repeat.
Well, not always.
Not always. Yeah, I lost this years ago, so now it's more like shine, which this is probably really glowing, so if we had baby powder, I wouldn't be quite as,
We actually were using the top of your head for the focus. I hope you don't take it.
Oh, no, that's totally cool.
Oh.
I helped.
With the amount of people that you must have worked with over the years, who were the ones that you just had the most fun with or you looked up to? Just who were the most fun recordings for you?
Oh, man. I recorded for a Verizon commercial years ago, and I was cut from it, so I didn't get to have that fun. But recording with Gray Delisle and Billy West, and unfortunately I don't remember who the other actors were because I was too busy being blown away that I was like, yeah, Gray Delisle's awesome and she's wonderful and sweet. But Billy West is another huge idol that I look up to. And he's a great storyteller, and he's got this manic energy, and it's just infectious to be in the same room. And we all recorded together because our characters in this commercial were singing. It was on the island of the Misfit Toys from the old claymation Rudolph and the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And at the time, the iPhone wasn't available on Verizon, so they made this whole joke and had a stop-motion commercial, and they had the iPhone on the island of Misfit Toys. I thought it was kind of cute. But the animation wasn't done yet. We were just doing the voices. So he was voicing like the lion, the ruler of the island of Misfit Toys. I was the choo-choo train. But they ended up cutting the choo-choo train from it. But yeah, the recording experience was cool because that's rare too, to have all the actors together like that for a commercial and have the commercial actually have a song in it. And I don't even remember how the song went, but that was a pretty unique experience.
I've definitely noticed, I'm sure other people have noticed, you're a big advocator against pirating anime. You've gone out, talked about that before.
Yeah.
And I always hear, me personally, I hear mixed things. I hear some people say it's spreading the word a lot. I hear other people say it's really taking a big bite out of the industry.
Yeah.
Which side is more truthful? Is there truth to either? Just what's your take?
I think now, the internet has changed the way we consume media overall. It's changed the face of everything. It's changed the job structures, changed the business models and everything. And in the case of anime, Japan, you have studios that go under because people are just downloading the shows instead of buying them when they come out. But now you see a business model with things like Funimation, Crunchyroll, Viz. They're putting shows online as soon as they're broadcast with subtitles. They're officially available, and they're either pay for a subscription model or free with streaming ads. So at least there's money going back into the system, and I think that's a good compromise. And it's a global marketplace, and Japan kind of needs the U.S. and other countries of the world to all work together so they continue putting the shows out. So the soapbox that I get on is like, if you consider yourself a fan, you support that project or the product or band or whatnot with your dollars. You go see a band you like in concert. I mean, everyone's guilty of it too. If you can listen to an album for free just by a couple of clicks, yeah, you do it. We're a try it before you buy it society. But because anime is such a niche thing that it's only like 1% of the entertainment spectrum. That's why piracy affects it so badly. Wolverine Origins, released in DVD quality before the theatrical release, didn't impact it at all. It was still #1 in theaters when it came out, and then quickly everyone saw why it was terrible and never go see it again. But you put on a show that costs millions of dollars to produce, or hundreds of thousands or whatever, and then it gets distributed out there and it's seen, and the fan base is rabid about it, and then they don't think about spending money on it because it costs too much. And yet all the people who complained about, like, this is the reason why I pirate, because it costs too much to buy the DVDs. Meanwhile, they're saving their money, which they should anyway. If there's something worth buying, you save your money, right? And they're tweeting from their smartphone, and they got their big screen HD TV and all that. It's like, I can't afford a DVD. Like, really? Really? Come on, can we rethink that? But now it's a better time than ever to be an anime fan. With Crunchyroll, Funimation, other subscriptions, where they're throwing out free episodes. I mean, they're giving fans a pretty fair shake. It's like, here's the first volume. Watch it for free. And if you like it, consider a subscription. And then Netflix, at least for the States, and then Canada to a degree as well. It's never been a better time. And anime's never been cheaper for mass consumption. And legally, too.
We both have worked with a little group we know as Team 4-Star.
Yes.
For those who don't know, they redub animation, particularly Dragon Ball Z. They redub anime, and we have both had the pleasure of working with both of them and hanging out with them.
Totally.
With something like that, when you see them taking something that is somebody else's work but redubbing it, do you say to yourself, well, that's them turning it into something else, or do you still see some form of copyright infringement? Again, what's your take on it?
That's a legal gray area, because I guess technically by the letter of the contracts and all the legality of it, yes, it is copyrighted visual material that is being altered and manipulated, kind of like sampling is to music. It's like, Ice Ice Baby. No, it's Under Pressure. Whatever. But, I mean, the fascinating thing is, Team 4-Star with Dragon Ball Z Abridged has happened to create a new fan base. There's people that never watched Dragon Ball Z before until they saw the parody of it. I would argue that the parody is more popular than the show itself. And that's a pretty interesting thing. And those guys, pack rooms like there's nobody's business. They're hugely popular, and they're hysterical. They're great. They're a great bunch of dudes and ladies working on those parodies, and I can't wait to see what original material they come up with.
I'm afraid to see what original material they come up with, because let me tell you, I see more of the abridged than I have the original show.
Okay.
And it has actually made me want to watch the original show just so I can find out where this footage came from and what the context was. Like I tell you, the stuff they do is scary, okay? They do some scary stuff, but by God, if I'm not constantly looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, and it gets a little wonky if you have the fans coming up to you asking you to quote an abridged line. It's like, wait a minute, I'm not that Gohan. I'm not the Gohan from the actual show. Uh, it's a little strange, but I mean it's also cool. So I view it as a good positive thing. It's entertaining. It's really really funny. I don't know what Toye's view on it is. They're probably like, no, curse you. But then you have the Napster Metallica thing all over again. It's like, do you really shoot your fan base in the foot like that? It's like, let's work together.
I like to end every interview with the same two polar opposite questions. The first one being, whether professional or personally, what is the toughest thing you ever had to go through, and how did you get through it?
The toughest thing I had to go through was moving to Los Angeles from Dallas, because I never envisioned myself moving. I thought that maybe I would just be in Dallas my whole life, but then I quickly realized that all the cartoon work is really in LA. I mean, Funimation's there, and they're great, and they're awesome, and they got my start in the career, but I don't see myself making a living doing that. And the scariest thing I had to do was walk away from a full-time job with Radio Disney, good, decent pay and good benefits, and look at, I'm going to leave everyone I know and love behind and gamble it on moving to Los Angeles, which many, many thousands and thousands and thousands of people do for whatever reason, or you pick up and move to any other city for a job opportunity. And it's the scariest thing I ever did. And my family were both, and still are, tremendously supportive of what I do. They don't understand it. They think that the freelance life is way too unpredictable, and they're right. They're right. But they know how much it meant to me. And I remember distinctly going across country from Dallas in a moving truck with my dad, and he helped me get set up and all that. I bought him a one-way ticket home to fly, and what happened was, as soon as I dropped him off, I pulled over to the side of the road and cried like a baby, so hard, harder than I ever had in my life, ever, because I said, oh my God, I'm here. I'm actually doing this. This is the scariest thing I've ever done. I went broke within months. I didn't have a day job. I did some internet radio post-production and maybe some radio imaging. The guys who say like, FM so 103.7, the station with blah, 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 blah. I did a little of that, but it was hardly anything to sustain myself. So that was the scariest time ever, just going broke, going, oh my God. I mean, it's not that I questioned myself in terms of talent. I always thought that if I had the opportunity, that I think everything would work out. And I thought it was a matter of time. But boy, that was rough. Boy, that was scary to call my parents, call my friends going, yeah, how you doing? Like, not so good. Not so good. Let me pay rent by getting a new credit card and running it up. Let me go further in debt. So yeah, kids, don't do as I do. It's a bad idea to do that. So if you're going to move to a new city, save your money. Save like 10 grand so you can float for a little bit while you look for work. Because if you're going to be an actor or something creative, an animator, an artist, YouTube celeb, whatever. I mean, you got to think about this. It's like, okay, you got to plan things out. It's like, is this going to be a ramen night, or can I splurge and have Taco Bell?
I had a friend who was an acting teacher who always used to say, here's the most important book you'll ever read if you want to be an actor. It says How to Wait Tables.
Right.
Because you always have to start,
Yeah.
from nothing, pretty much. Usually when they're a job. Very few start with everything at your beck and call pretty much when going into acting.
Yeah, and if you move to Hollywood, you're a little fish in a big pond, and it's really true what they say. I mean, no matter how much success you had in another city, you feel like it's a clean slate and you're starting over from the get-go. I felt like the 5 years at the time that I had started with Funimation, I thought, oh my God, this doesn't matter. This doesn't matter at all. But I was friends with Steve Bloom, who still is one of the most wonderful human beings in the world, and a fantastic voice actor who took me under his belt and said, dude, it's going to be fine. Just wait it out. I know it's tough, but we all go through it. And he walked my demo in to a couple studios, and that helped light the spark, which took years before I would get somewhat regular work. But I stuck it out. It meant that much to me to say, you know what? Every time I get in the booth and I get to record, it makes all the suffering and the sweating and then, oh my God, I can't believe it. It makes it worth it. It absolutely makes it worth it. And I will be that way till I die. You know, I love what I do that much that I will face whatever, because it's feast or famine as a freelancer. Anyone who does self-employed anything knows that to be the case. You could have a good month followed by 3 bad ones. You know, a lucrative year followed by 5 bad ones. You know, I mean, there's no rhyme or reason to it. And there's almost no momentum. I've had momentum over the course of 8 or 9 years, but it's not a steady momentum. It's not like, I am suddenly working every day, because I'm not. I'm auditioning more than I'm working still. And most actors, that is the case. But I stuck it out, and I'm glad I did. That was the hardest thing I did, though, was to leave my home and come to a brand new place where I didn't know anyone, basically, just by myself. Since then, I moved my daughter out. She lives with me still, and it's working.
And finally, again, either professionally or personally, what is the proudest thing you've ever done in your life?
Well, this will sound like a cop-out answer because we have already discussed this.
I was hoping you'd think of something else.
Oh,
okay,
jeez.
just say it again.
All right.
And there's so much emotional stuff there, and they're just gonna, I'm just gonna repeat A. Yeah, that's
okay.
great.
Well,
So,
discovering this thing called better than peanut butter, because it's natural and creamy, and you put it in the refrigerator after you open it, because I don't know, science, but it really is better than peanut butter.
You're gonna end this interview on that weak-ass answer.
I'm in Wreck-It Ralph. I got to be in a Disney movie, which you didn't hear that part, right? Because you scrubbed over it?
We'll edit it out in post.
Ah! Better than peanut butter, though. Smartwatches. Go to Tashi Station and pick up a power converter.
I'm so glad I invited you on the show.
Aren't you?
This has been Kyle Hebert, and this has been Shut Up and Talk. Thank you, and take care. This is where we talk to each other, like the camera's still going, like we're having a little bit of conversation. Oh, that person did that thing, yes! I can't believe you ended on that one.
I know.
Weak. Really. I mean, it's like so weak, especially after all the emotional stuff.
I know. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, just down the toilet.
Totally.
Yeah, I wish I never met you.
I know, totally, completely.
None of that. Perfect. That was great. Look good.